Well, welcome to Chicago, Illinois for a fantastic matchup here in match day 19. Chicago Fire 2 welcome in New England Revolution 2 for a big-time matchup in the Eastern Conference. Hello, family. I'm James Hadnot. Thank you so much for joining us. And here's what the Eastern Conference standings look like right now. New England has had a fantastic season up to this point. 10 wins, 38 points, second in the Eastern Conference. And Chicago Fire 2 on the outside looking in, trying to make it into the playoffs with the 25 points. Huntsville just 3 points ahead of them, which means that a win here today outright could boost Chicago into potentially a tie for the Eastern Conference final playoff spot. And both of these teams coming in on different wavelengths. For New England, a side that is on a 4-match unbeaten streak. They have not played in 2 weeks, going back to their last win against Crown Legacy, a 3-1 win over the #1 team in the East. And for Chicago Fire 2, they're coming off a loss on the road against Orlando in a match that Coach Tellen Dubois said that he wanted his team to attack more down the stretch, and that was a 3-2 back-and-forth matchup. So we'll definitely want to see his side attack against a team in New England that scores goals at a high rate, one of the top teams in the league. Here's the home side's starting 11 in the 4-3-3, and Coach Tellen Dubois wants to see more play from his attacking players at the top, wants to see more goals from those guys because of what they can do offensively. And in the back, at that right back position, Charlie Ostrom, he's the man that leads the team in the Golden Boot race right now for his side with 5 goals. And so players like Omari Glasgow wanted to get him up into the action as well for Chicago Fire 2. Now here's the New England Revs 2 lineup for Coach Clint P.A. in the 3-4-3, and so many different players you could point out for Revs 2. We are going to point out Peyton Miller, one of the youngest signings in team history, and Miller has not only showed why he is one of the youngest signings in team history, but he has performed maybe even at a higher level. Goals in his last 2 matches, and Miller is the man to watch here in this match for Revs 2. Also, have to look out for Jordan Adebayo-Smith for New England. He leads the team in goals himself with 8 on the year, and this is going to be a back-and-forth matchup for sure. Chicago likes to get after it. They want to create chances as often as possible, and Clint P.A., the head coach for New England, said that Chicago is one of the teams that lead the league in goal creation opportunities. So let's strap ourselves in and get ready for this match. Mohammed Hassan, our head referee, blows his whistle, and Chicago in possession first in the navy blue jerseys with white numbers. They'll move from left to right on your screen. And New England in the road whites with black numbers as we begin here in this Eastern Conference duel between Fire 2 and Revs 2. Suarez. Miller's first touch. Peyton Miller, a player that was a part of the U19 national championship team for New England at the academy level. And back-to-back years, they won that national championship. So many players making their debut with Revs 2 this season through the academy. Over the years, the throw-in has to come from a deeper distance. Headed forward, and space opening up now for Hensey. And the collision turns into a foul. Becerra, the guilty party. New England will return in possession. Direct ball will drop for Damian Rivera, but he is offside. looking back for New England. Mentioned they reached 10 wins before the long break after the win versus Crown Legacy, and Coach PA sharing with me this week that it was great to get the win against such a good side in Crown Legacy. And just gave them a chance to really take the break in and enjoy themselves, but had to now, getting ready for this match, it's always the rest versus rust factor. So wants to see his team get out early and play at a high level. Baraktarevic. Big ball over the top. Again, looking for Rivera, who handles it. Rivera leaves it out wide. Jack Penatu. Now Baraktarevic. Miller. Another slide tackle. Taps it off of Luca Perpa. So New England will keep possession. On the flip side for Chicago, they struggled in the months of April and May. No wins and 5 losses with 3 ties. But since the turn of the calendar to June, they have played at a much higher level. And talking with their head coach, Ludovic Talatois, just mentioned that it wasn't necessarily a big shift, just really focused in, capitalizing on our chances. And we want to stick to our identity as this season starts to wind down. That identity is taking advantage of offensive chances. Now Rivera for New England. Adebayo Smith. Nice turn. Ball's headed back down to Miller. As Revs to converge, possession will stay with the away side. Rivera. Bolma. Baraktarevic was offside. Another thing that Coach Alain Duas said to his side, and something that they really focused in on, was defense and understanding that his side is going to get after it and put numbers not only into the box but forward in the attack, but have to ensure that they weren't getting counterattacked. And right now we see numbers moving forward. Glasgow, his ball took a ricochet and was reeled in by Jacob Jackson. Here again, Glasgow with a lot of space and just sliding in was Pierre Caillet. Got enough of it to ensure it did not hover around the 6. The last piece of the pie for Coach Alain Duas is committing the numbers forward in the attack, but making sure that you're aggressive in getting back if you were to lose the ball. This is McNamara. New England loses possession. Glasgow will receive the ball back off a wonderful through ball, and he is free. The cutback, but his shot is blocked. Only as far as Perpa. He puts it back in. Ball ends up out for a goal kick. You can see how quickly things put into motion for Chicago. Billy Hensey got ahead to that ball, but could not put it on frame. Now after the slip, the ball dropped right in front, and Jackson is there to stonewall the shot. Luca Perpa trying to score for the second match in a row, but he is denied by Jacob Jackson. Last 3 minutes, 3 real good chances for Chicago. Speaking to the points that Coach PA made, New England has to be on their toes if they want to try to come away with 3 points here on the road. Chicago starting to come forward once again. 4v4, no one stopping Luca Perpa. Now the ball slipped into the box, and Jacob Jackson has to make another save. As Billy Hensey, twice in a matter of moments, has put some pressure on this Revs back line. And again, just a bit of coverage by Victor Zusa, and because of him being in front of it, made it a little wonky for Jackson, so he had to just tap it out. Now a corner upcoming for Chicago. Ahmed Hassan having a conversation with the men in the box. This is Perpa preparing to take this corner. Flipped in. And a throw-in coming for Chicago. Santiago Suarez deemed the party to touch it last. Now Charlie Ostrom, quick throw-in. Rahel loses possession. The player to watch for New England and Peyton Miller. Player to watch for Chicago would have to be Charlie Ostrom. After that foul, New England will have a restart. But for Ostrom, 5 goals this season as a defender. When I asked his head coach about it, he said, one, we would like our forwards to finish more chances, but also it shows just how elusive our team can be, and how dangerous they can be to have defenders come into the attack, whether it be Glasgow or Ostrom. So have to always be prepared if you're a defending side like New England for those defenders to join into the attack. For Chicago. This is Glasgow. Off another beautiful 1-2. Glasgow looks to race free once again. This is a cross. Just out of the reach of Billy Hensey. Glasgow with his eyes up, just getting it into the path of Hensey, but slightly over his leap. Baraktarevic comes back to defend from his forward spot, but gives the ball away. The shot right at Jackson. Perpa could not put enough power onto it. Jordan Adebayo Smith trying to race free himself. Finds Damian Rivera. Rivera puts it on frame. Jeffrey Gall, standing tall, sends it back. This is what Jordan Adebayo-Smith brings to this offense. His pace, next level, one of the fastest players in the league. And as he got behind, was able to leave it for his teammate, Damian Rivera. Power behind the shot, but Jeffrey Gall was ready for it, did not trouble him. Now Esmir Baraktarevic ready for this corner. Outswinging ball will bounce for Rivera. Back into the box, but now Chicago will look to counter. Glasgow, 1v2, has a man off to his right. Tried to thread the needle. Now New England coming the other way. Panayotou. And Eric Leonard will have none of it. Stops Panayotou in his tracks. Pendulum swings now for Chicago. Glasgow. Perpa curls it in. It drops for a goal kick. '15th minute here at SeatGeek Stadium in Bridgeview, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. Home of Chicago Fire 2, currently sitting 9th in the Eastern Conference. The top 7 teams will make the playoffs in both the East and the West. Chicago just 3 points out of a playoff spot right now. New England firmly entrenched near the top of the East. And after Crown Legacy won today to keep pace with the top side in the East, New England will be looking for 3 points themselves. These two teams met earlier this season. It was a 2-2 draw in which New England picked up the extra point and kicks from the mark. Esmir Baraktarevic drops it off for Bulma. Now Rivera. Panayotou puts it into the path of Adebayo-Smith. And Jeffrey Gall just impacted his shot just enough. Wonderful build-up play here as Panayotou allows it through, and Adebayo-Smith had a lot of bodies around him. And it's tough to keep your composure in a situation like that. The first real beckoning of an opportunity for New England. Now Glasgow lets it loose and earns his team a corner. As New England has its first major opportunity, Chicago will have its second or third here in a matter of moments. It's not just waves of offense for Chicago, tidal waves to be exact. Perpa puts it into the box, headed all the way across and tracked down by Rodriguez. The ball trickles in front, right to Jacob Jackson. Tries to start the break. Adebayo-Smith with excellent speed starts his engines. Baraktarevic lets it fly. It's right at Jeffrey Gall. exactly what Coach Talentois likes to see. After getting the numbers forward into the attack, quickly getting behind the ball, and making it difficult for New England. If that is done consistently, a real chance for Chicago. Here, Kaye will let this roll out for a New England throw. A little push in behind by Sergio Orajel Jr. So a restart upcoming for New England, who has had most of the possession here early in this match, throughout the first 18 minutes in total. Chicago has threatened 3 or 4 times here before the first 20 minutes have eclipsed. Kaye. Direct ball, drops for, almost drops for Rivera. Jeffrey Gall was in between, but ends up making the right decision. Here Chicago comes once again. Leonard. Glasgow. By one defender. Now to the midst. All the way across. Big blast. Charlie Ostrom. Not too far off. Here is why he's the leader in goals scored, because he always finds himself with space to operate. Not a bad effort for Ostrom. Suarez. Bolma. Jordan Adebayo-Smith. Played for the first team in the 3rd league in the EPL. As a teenager, Lincoln City. Came over to the United States, play here with New England, as he really saw a chance for him to make it all the way up to the first team. There was a true pathway, he believed, and has put it all on himself. Knows that if he puts the work in, with the eyes that he has on him, being a part of a MLS organization, that he can achieve what he wants to achieve. Now Chicago on the attack. Kaye, once again, clears it away. Third corner of the day upcoming for Chicago. Sergio Orajel Jr. to trigger it. Booms it into the box. Leonard rises. The ball will roll out for a goal kick. Ball settled by Baraktarevic. 5 starts with the first team, 8 appearances this season. Right to Rivera, who also has matriculated up the pathway. That's one thing that New England does so well. One of the top academies in all of MLS. They take care of their own. Kaye to McNamara. Thomas McNamara making his first appearance with the second team, another first teamer. Going down was Peyton Miller. Nothing coming of it. New England still on the prowl. Bolma. Baraktarevic. Esmir Baraktarevic finds himself and his team a corner. Plenty of options in the box for New England. Adebayo Smith, Victor Sousa, and Thomas McNamara, all of excellent height. And a foul here behind. Santiago Suarez needing some time to get up. It'll be a free kick for New England. He is well out in front in the possession statistics. Ball sent into the box, headed over, and Bolma will track it down. New England stays on it. Another ball into the box. Baraktarevic, Miller, Rivera. Damian Rivera cuts in, looking for an avenue through. Chicago handles the danger for a moment. Sousa. Miller rips it inside the box. And the header from Kaye, handled by Jeffrey Gall, who quickly starts the offense. Hensey turned away by Adebayo Smith, and New England wants to run. That's just an excellent move for a first teamer. As Esmir Baraktarevic held the ball up, felt the contact, and not only does he earn his team a free kick, but a man going into the book.
Has been issued to Chicago Fire 2, number 48, Charlie Ostrom.
Ostrom receives the yellow card. The 26th minute. Baraktarevic has a go. Again, not too far off. Baraktarevic earlier this season had the first hat trick in the history of Revs 2. He is no stranger to scoring. Kaye. Back to Sousa. Around to Suarez. We're in the 27th minute. No score between Chicago and New England on match day 19. MLS Next Pro. Chicago forcing a turnover. A team that likes to run, but McNamara racing back into Vince. Now Damian Rivera switches the point of attack. Excellent idea. Down to Panayotu. That ball triples all the way into the trading area. Santiago Suarez will throw it in. Miller started on the left, on the right side as the ball roll out. Thinking about where Chicago started this season, they had 2 wins in the month of March. Then in April and May, struggled to earn a victory. But over the past 2 months, 4-1-4, picking up points in 8 of 9 matches. Head coach Colin Dubois really excited about what this team can be down the stretch. I asked him about how close the Eastern Conference is. He just mentioned that there's just no days off here in this league. Anybody can beat anybody. And he felt that his side has never been outmatched this season. Taking on one of the top teams in the East right now in New England. They've held their own early on. Have been the more dangerous side offensively. Sousa bullies his way onto the ball. New England keeps possession. Miller signed his contract as a 16-year-old. Locates Damian Rivera, who cuts in. Taps it back, but loses possession. What the hell? Just another excellent defensive effort by Pierre Caillé. Blocking his man off and retaking possession for his side. Over the top has been there all day. Damian Rivera makes Leonard fall. Rivera can't put it on frame. And now Luca Purpa is loose. 1v1 with McNamara. Purpa pumps it in, and it's snagged by Jacob Jackson. Chips it over to Baraktarevic, and end-to-end football continues to commence here. Boma is pushed down, and another free kick. A dangerous area for New England. Baraktarevic went for it from about this distance earlier. Shall see how he's feeling now. Chips it over. It'll drop. Chicago on the ball. McNamara. Suarez. Sousa. Caillé. His pass takes a ricochet right to Chicago. Again, Chicago can move so quickly. That ball has a little more power, and Billy Hensey is free. Glasgow back on the ball quickly, but it's taken away by Kaye. Rivera makes one man miss, and now it's a race. This is Jordan Adebayo Smith. And Jordan Adebayo Smith lost his footing as he was looking for his 9th goal of the season. Thought that might be the chance here in the first half for New England. They're a team that has 38 goals this year, so more chances will definitely persist. Rivera. Boma charged with the foul. Talked about what Chicago has done up to this point, and they made the switch and how things have turned up for them in the month of June and July. Similar for New England on a 4-match unbeaten streak. Their last win was against Crown Legacy. They also have wins over this stretch against Inter Miami 2, as well as Huntsville. Have some tough competition moving forward. Red Bulls 2 up next, and then we'll take on Orlando City B. Take on New York at home, and we'll have to travel to Kissimmee, Florida to take on Orlando. Chicago, as they look to make their way to the playoffs, have matchups against Atlanta and FC Cincinnati 2. Now Rivera. His cross blocked away. Another corner now for New England. Points to be had for both sides over the next 8 matches. An important 3 points potentially to be handed out here in this match. This ball lofted up. Rivera booms it out. Perpa pressing forward. Once again, Glasgow free on this right side. Glasgow going for himself this time. Peyton Miller does so well in defense, forces the ball out for the corner. Miller, a very interesting story that has so many layers. Started off as an attacking player, and when he came into the New England Revs 2 organization, he was moved around to a left back. This corner comes in, headed away by Miller. Glasgow sends it back high into the air, and Jacob Jackson will reel it in. Miller initially did not want to move from that striking position, because what youngster doesn't want to be up front and score goals? But it ended up helping him in the end, because now he can play so many different positions on the field. We've seen him up front on the right side. He's usually on the left. He can be so dangerous, a Swiss Army knife for New England. Another reason why he's signed as just a 16-year-old. Finish this season with the second team, and then top brass will look to have him with the first team next year. Another free kick for New England as we enter into the 39th minute of play. Bulma moves this one in. It's belted away. Down for Sousa. Kaye threads it through. Now Panayotu stops it on the touchline. Miller sends it back in. Now McNamara. Not enough bend on the ball to really trouble Jeffrey Gall. Now goal kick. Suarez. Adebayo Smith. Tracks back to Bulma. Miller joins the attack. This is Damian Rivera, the leaders in assists on this team. Sousa. Baraktarevic. Isolated. Still sizzles his way forward. Back on the ball. Miller. Rivera. And Amari Glasgow will have none of it. That's to the chagrin of the entire New England side. Thomas McNamara called for a foul. The ball taken away quickly. Adebayo Smith puts the ball near Panayotu. Another corner for New England. Baraktarevic will not take this corner. It will be Jack Panayotu. Outswinging ball. Glasgow boots it into the air. Now heads it forward. Out for a New England throw. Something was not to the liking of Mohamed Hassan. Now play restarts. Ball right into the box. Adebayo Smith is held off by Lamont Rochester. Kaye. McNamara. Panayotu. Now Rivera. Adebayo Smith. Once again, Jeffrey Gall was there. Offside is the call. No matter what the outcome would have been, it would have been disallowed. Rochester. And there was a push from behind by Sousa. And Hensey is down. Walking a bit gingerly as he holds on to his right leg. We're here in the 45th minute. No goals for either side. Both keepers have been tested. Four saves for Jeffrey Gall, 2 for Jacob Jackson. Official word now, a minimum of 1 minute of added time here in the first half. Suarez. This ball will be held up by Asmir Baraktarevic, but it's out for a Chicago throw. Chicago has to get cooking. They don't want to have anything here at the end of the half. Leonard. Glasgow. Switches the field. This is Becerra. First time we've heard his name today. That will end the first half as Hensey is down for Chicago. He will be tended to as we bring this first half to a close. Our score at the half, Chicago 0, New England 0. MLS Next Pro got to take part in MLS All-Star Week by reviving Goalie Wars. Not only did 4 keepers perform at a high level, but we got some unique access with the player cam powered by AT&T 5G.
First semifinal. On the left, Ben Martino, and on the right, Isaac Walker, brought back unofficially last year, now to popular demand. A big chance for Ben Martino now to try to tie it up, and that should do it for Isaac Walker, who is winning this first round of Goalie Wars. Now it's time for the second semifinal. Damian Las and Xavier Valdez going head to head. Now to win for Damian Loss, and he does in overtime. Damian Loss advancing to the final of Goalie Wars. Isaac Walker, Damian Loss doesn't he? Pull this away, he's going to, I think, isn't he? He knows the time. Damian Loss has got to go quick. Oh, does he get it?
Oh my goodness.
But in all seriousness, Damian Loss is put on the
The
show.
2023 MLS Next Goalie Wars win. Yes! Isaac Walker, the new champion.
Let's go! Give me the bell, baby!
Isaac Walker, MLS Next Pro.
It's such a goalkeeper.
Well, as we wrapped up our international competitions Friday, Michelle was in Salt Lake and got to sit down with Real Salt Lake Assistant General Manager Tony Beltran to talk about his role with the club and how international competition can help clubs domestically.
I'm Michelle Montaigne, and today MLS Next Pro is absolutely honored to be sitting down with Tony Beltran, Assistant General Manager for Real Salt Lake. And can we just start with you describing what exactly that entire role entails?
Sure, absolutely, and a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me. So as the Assistant General Manager for Real Salt Lake, I oversee the day-to-day operations and the longevity of our developmental side. So that includes Next Pro and also our next teams, our academy teams, the Real Monarchs, and our U15 and U17 academy side.
A lot of those guys who get to use this beautiful facility. What went into the decision to build this really one-of-a-kind, state-of-the-art facility?
Ambition. And I think an understanding of kind of the roster rules of MLS. Our previous owner, Doy Hansen, saw an efficiency, and that's in collaboration with the front office, and that was that there's an obvious benefit on the cap side of having homegrown players play for your first team. And so we previously had our academy off-site in Arizona, which is also part of our territory, but bringing it in-house here in Utah allowed us the continued advantage of having all of our players under one roof. And so now, with housing the Monarchs and our academy full-time in our residential dormitory, on a given day, we have the ability to pull players from each team, have them up for training, have them go down for opportunities, and do all of that instantaneously. So it's a huge advantage, it's a huge resource, and thank you so much for complimenting. It is a beautiful campus, and we are very spoiled.
No kidding. It is beautiful, for sure. But in terms of the impact you've seen it play on the field, can you talk a little bit about how it has shown up and how having all of these things under one roof has really generated value on the pitch?
Yeah, I think a really good example is reflected in our first team. And so for the last 5 years, Real Salt Lake has led the league in homegrown minutes played in the regular season. So it's a stat that I'm really proud of and our club is really proud of, and I think really just embodies what we're about, and that's development. And we've had for years a fantastic pipeline from our academy to the first team, and it's brought us great success. And now, again, in this new era with new ownership and the new resources, we're even more excited and bullish about the opportunities for our academy players coming through the ranks and beyond.
One of those opportunities, obviously this MLS Next Pro Invitational, your second year hosting it. How does it help the club to be able to host an international tournament? What does it do for the club on the international stage?
It's a lot of fun. First of all, it's a lot of fun. And I think before speaking about the club, I'll reference for what it does to the players. As a former player myself, I think this is really important to hone in on. Look, any time you're going to challenge yourself against your international peers is really important. Important just because of the opportunity from a competitive standpoint, but also in development, having diversity in opponent, diversity in experiences, like anything in life, just propels everything forward. And so from a player standpoint, on the developmental side, I think it's wonderful what the MLS Next Pro has built here. And we're happy to be a partner in that, now and hopefully in future years. And then on the club side, again, I think it's just a great way to legitimize our developmental teams within the global landscape and to build relationships with European sides and to build future pathways and ties. And again, just to another indicator, another metric to challenge our players in a different environment.
You touched on two things there, the club side and the league side. So on that note, MLS Next Pro, only in its second year, how does what you guys have built here as an organization kind of provide a model for other clubs in MLS Next Pro to emulate?
Oh, that's, first of all, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know, I think each market is unique. And so the setup, I think what Nashville is doing and having their MLS Next Pro team off-site in a different, almost secondary market is really interesting. And so I think it depends on the makeup of the team and the locale and the community and what works there. But for us specifically, one thing that we constantly hear from all of our peers in the landscape is that they're very jealous, very envious of the opportunities that our campus provides. And that's having all of our players, and that's from the 13, 14-year-olds all the way up to the professional players, on our campus 10.5 months out of the year. And that is a huge luxury because we get so many more touch points, so many more opportunities to influence the development of all of our players. And so I think one thing this campus does really well, and one thing that other markets maybe have tried to take away from us, is the ability for this campus or a setup like this to inspire development in an individual. Because that's a real important component of teaching. It's not just conveying information and just saying words and teaching. It's inspiring others, inspiring students to take ownership of learning, right? To take ownership of their own careers. And I think our market does that really well.
Speaking of careers, you've spent almost all of your professional playing career with this club. So for you just personally, getting to be an assistant GM, getting to have a hand in helping develop these young guys, what does that mean to you?
It's very special. Thank you so much. I feel so fortunate. I definitely appreciate that this does not happen with every professional career, but being able to play the entirety of my career, my pro career in Salt Lake City, and now working in the front office for a club and for a community that really is a chief protagonist in my life is very special. Very special. So I feel so fortunate to be part of this community, and I'm so thankful that the club still wants me.
Well, for good reason. Tony, thank you so much for the time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
It's not every day we get to sit down with someone in the front office. This is Tony Beltran, Assistant General Manager for Real Salt Lake.
Well, we roll right along here at the half. Chicago and New England tied 0-0. It was a busy week all around with MLS Next Pro clubs. Michelle and Samara have a big task wrapping it all up in this week's edition of the Match Day Rewind.
Despite the imminent weather throughout the weekend and aside all the international action going on here in Utah, Match Day 18 delivered quite the excitement. Michelle Montaigne and I are here to get you caught up on the best moments of the weekend. Now we start this rewind with great news out of LA. LAFC star goalkeeper Maxime Crépeau is back. The Canadian keeper returned to the pitch following a lengthy recovery after suffering a devastating leg injury in the 2022 MLS Cup final. Following the match, Crépeau shared what it meant to be back in action and be part of the team's 2-1 win over Tacoma Defiance.
Honestly, it's been a hell of a road, so personally I was just happy to play again, honestly, to play, to enjoy it, to have fun. That was a big part that I've missed playing, and then obviously there's a lot of ups and downs during those 9 months with the recovery process. But the fact that I've been able to come out with the guys, and to be fair, we handled well the second half where we got the result and we got the job done. We did some small adjustments, and tactically we came up on top. So I'm happy to get the 3 points with the guys because they deserve it. We worked well today, and then now it's just to carry on and to get momentum out of that. Yeah.
Now, keeping it out west, when the top team in the Western Conference is calling it their comeback of the year, you know it's got to be a big deal. Rapids 2 goes down 3-0 at the break, but fights back in the second half with 2 goals less than 10 minutes apart, supplemented by an Austin FC 2 own goal to send this one to a shootout. That's when Adam Beaudry took over, making a critical save on the final kick from the spot to give his team the shootout victory. This is the second of 3 meetings between the top 2 teams in the West, with Rapids 2 so far taking multiple points each time.
Now, if there's someone who's going to deliver some remarkable talking points, that's our defending champs. While Crew 2 took a 6-2 loss against Union 2, the game delivered moments we could not even make up. Just 6 minutes into the match, the Cappies went down a keeper following a foul that earned him a straight red card. Midfielder Clay Hallstad came in to replace the starting Crew 2 keeper and did an impressive job in the first half. However, the visitors took advantage of the mishap and delivered a flurry of goals, 2 of them coming from academy players David Vasquez and Luciano Sanchez.
And for the second straight week, there is a new name atop the Golden Boot race standings. With his brace in OCB's game against Chicago Fire 2, Jack Lynn sits in sole first with a tally of 12 total goals this season. This marks his second 2-goal game in the month of July alone, having scored in all but 1 game this month. Behind him sits Nick Firmino with 11, followed by 4 players who each have 10.
What a weekend. You can catch all the highlights on MLSNextPro.com and tune into Matchday 19 on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. We'll see you back here next week. For Michelle and I'm Samara Perez signing off from Utah.
Now it's time to look at the upcoming schedule, and here's what Matchday 19 looks like. Some teams that have already finished Crown Legacy with a 1-0 win over FC Cincinnati 2, so they will add 3 points to their tally. St. Louis with a dominant win over LAFC 2 yesterday, and still to come on Monday, Red Bulls 2 will take on Orlando City B, 2 of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. Now it's time for our highlights from the first half, and despite there being no goals, Chicago was always threatening, and Amari Glasgow was always in the thick of things for this side in Chicago. This is one of the best chances. This turn and shot from Bill Hensey, but it was handled by Jacob Jackson. Then Jack Panayotu and Jordan Adebayo-Smith link up. Adebayo-Smith, a lot of men around him, could not really put that one on frame. Asmir Baraktarevic let it rip, and it almost found the back of the net. Now it's time to see the Eastern Conference standings right now. Chicago Fire sitting tied with NYCFC with 26 points, but that could change if they could somehow pull out 1, 2, or maybe 3 points here in this match and put themselves into playoff position. New England behind Crown Legacy for that top spot in the East. And so they are themselves still have work to do, and there's still a lot to look forward to as we wind down this season. We're here at the end of the month of July. 2 more months remain in the MLS Next Pro season. And still playoffs to come after that. So make sure you are always tuned in on what's going on at MLSNextPro.com and on Apple TV. New England in the white tops and white bottoms. Chicago in the navy blue tops and navy blue bottoms. Our head referee, Mohammed Hassan. Ready. That's the whistle, and we begin the second half. 2 substitutes to share with you. Both Victor Becerra and Billy Hensey come out, and Noah Hernandez and Mateo Kidd enter the pitch for Chicago.
Also entering the match, number 46, Mateo Kidd. Leaving the match, number 47, Billy Hensey.
Possession-wise, it was all New England in the first half. 63% of the possession for Revs 2, compared to just 37 for Chicago. But in regards to expected goals, a .86 for New England and a .74 for Chicago. And that's because Fire 2 found themselves on the fringe multiple times with Omari Glasgow. He was free pretty often at his wing position. We have a foul. The ball went down. But for New England, very steady this entire match. Almost a tumultuous turnover. Now Rochester will track it down for Chicago. As we look to see what the second half might hold, Chicago has shown that they have not had a problem with not having possession, but that they have quick striking ability. Now coming forward is Luka Perpa. Locates Omari Glasgow. As this ball hovers over the 6-yard box, it will roll out for a New England throw. Coach Talandois saying that he felt his team could attack more even after scoring 2 goals in their 3-2 loss to Orlando. So we can expect for the same type of fury offensively and the same attacking mindset for Chicago here in the second half as they look for a goal that could tip the balance of this match. Rochester. On the way back, Durer. England, they've had no trouble scoring goals this season. Mentioned that they have 38. That's 4th in the league. Only teams with more goals, Crown Legacy and Colorado Rapids 2, who are both atop the East and West respectively, and Philadelphia Union 2, who are above the playoff line themselves. Volma lets it go by his shoulder, but it will roll out for a goal kick. Rodriguez. Hernandez makes his first touch. Young Glasgow. Nice idea, finds Luka Perpa. Second ball back to the middle. This is Ostrom. A bit unselfish. Glasgow can't beat the ball to the touchline. Out for a throw. Now this is Thomas McNamara. Held up a bit, and that will be a foul. McNamara was a consistent first-team player, has not been with the first team all season as he recovers from an injury that's had him out all year. And we often talk about what the second team can be for young players, but also a chance for rehabilitation. We saw it at halftime with Maxime Crepeau, MLS Cup champion with LAFC, making a start with the second team and helping that side to their second win of the month. Now something similar with McNamara, who is trying to work back from an injury of his own to hopefully not just impact the second team side, but make it back to the first team and be a difference maker. Now Chicago on the prowl. Turning is Perpa. Just as we spoke highly about McNamara, he makes the mistake. And Chicago will earn a free kick here. Nice distance from the goal. Definitely a scoreable
range.
Noah Hernandez was the man that was tripped up.
Hernandez and Glasgow stand behind the ball. Hernandez hammers it high. It's just over the crossbar for a goal kick. Chicago now putting a bit of pressure on New England. We'll see how Revs to deal with this press from Chicago. Did not see very much of it in the first half. Fire 2, of course, here at home, feeling out this excellent side for New England. Now on the ball again. Move central to Glasgow. Omari Glasgow takes a shot. It's picked up by Jacob Jackson, who makes his third save of the day. And that one had to be perfect. The players looming outside the box. Now Baraktarevic rips it wide to Panayotu. His cross headed high by Rochester. Back down to Baraktarevic. So calm. And almost earned his team a corner. But Ostrom tapped it off of him for the goal kick. With New England not playing last weekend, I asked head coach Clint Piet if it would help or hamper his side. And he mentioned that coming off the win with Crown Legacy, the team did not necessarily take very much time off, but they enjoyed the week prior to having no game. But everything was business as usual this week. And had a wait and see mentality when it came to the match to see if it would help or hurt. And has not hurt them up to this point. Done well in possession. Passed the ball extremely well. Taken 10 shots, 3 of which have been on target.
A yellow card caution has been issued to Chicago Fire 2, number 41.
A footnote for right now. Jeffrey Gall shown a yellow card.
Number 25, Jeff Gall.
He is the goalkeeper for Chicago. And the yellow came for taking too much time on the restart. We'll have to see if that impacts the match. Now Ostrom sends it right across. Alan Rodriguez was there. Now New England turning the other way. Damian Rivera. Excellent ball to Baraktarevic. Baraktarevic onto his left foot. Jeffrey Gall has to make another save. Damian Rivera does so well to find Baraktarevic. As Esmir puts his hands to his face. Wanted to do better there. You know how Chicago's rocking. Right back at it. Omari Glasgow loses possession outside the 18. Back and forth we go here at SeatGeek Stadium.
This is Damian Rivera by his defender. Finds Adebayo Smith. And Rivera, who ends up on the pitch, will not receive a free kick. So if there was any rust for New England, it has fallen off up to this point. This has been a back and forth matchup, end to end, as we expected, with Chicago and how they attacked the game. Glasgow sends it forward to Hernandez, who is offside. In the match earlier this season, it was a 2-2 draw. Noah Hernandez scored in that match. And Richard Fleming III also scored for Chicago. Goal scorers for New England: Jordan Adebayo Smith and Jack Panayotu. Rivera. Bolma. Back to Rivera. He is second on the team in assists with 3. Now around to Santiago Suarez. Look at the movement for New England. Taking their time, trying to break down the Chicago defense. Well done. Miller. Panayotu pumps it into the back of the net. New England has their first here on the road. So well done. And Peyton Miller just cuts it right back. Panayotu had acres of space somehow outside the 6, but it was just the movement from New England, lulling Chicago to sleep. And not seen in that replay was Bolma finding Peyton Miller as he raced into the box. The lines were passed through, and Jack Panayotu scores again in a match against Chicago. Thomas McNamara's day is done.
New England Revolution 2 goal scored by number 22, Jack Panayotu, in the 59th minute of play. Substitution for New England Revolution 2. Entering the match, number 32, Jake Rosansky. Leaving
As
the match,
McNamara
number
goes out,
26,
Jake Rosansky
Tommy
comes
McNamara.
in. And New England has a 1-goal lead here in the 61st minute. And with this ball slipped in, Chicago trying to change that. Still free. Shot. Walked away. Mateo Kidd made his way into the box. Made things tough for New England. Here it is again. Kidd turning, burning. But Victor Sousa gets a leg out. This is Eric Leonard. Lamont Rochester. That has been the consistent idea for Chicago, trying to find Glasgow on the outer channels. He's been open for a lot of this match based on how Chicago has found him. This is Ostrom for Chicago. Leading goal scorer with 5, isolated against Sousa. Cross, drop down. Another shot, and Noah Hernandez has the game-tying goal.
Chicago,
1-1 here in the 62nd minute. Noah Hernandez scores it for Chicago. Just a beautiful display for Fire 2. Ostrom sends it into the box as it drops for Herba. Puts it into the path of Hernandez. And we are knotted up at
Chicago
1 apiece.
Fire 2 goals scored by number 44, Noe Hernandez. Goal scored in the 63rd minute of play.
Chicago coming the other way, looking to really impact the score sheet. Glasgow. Rodriguez rips it into the box. Ostrom. Jackson on the ball for New England. Let's see how this match opens up now. Damian Rivera on his horse. This is Jordan Adebayo-Smith. Really tried to go into his bag there. Chicago retakes possession. First matchup between these two sides was back and forth. It ended 2-2. Similarly to this match, men that have scored here today scored in that match. Do we have more goals on the horizon? Throw in coming for New England. Suarez. Arakterovic. Turning is the goal scorer, Panayotou. He locates Damian Rivera. Past one defender. Rivera loses his footing. The ball back to Bulma. Now Lamont Rochester will start his engines. Herpa. Arahel. Now this is Mateo Kidd. Finds Omari Glasgow. And sprays it wide. This has been an entertaining match to say the least. The slow burn of the first half. Explosion here in the second half. Both sides not only going forward, but sticking to their own guns. Chicago attacking quickly to equalize, and New England clinical to open up the scoring. Bulma. Ambitious pass. Ends up with Jordan Adebayo-Smith. Back to the middle, Rivera. Damian Rivera. A little wide. Another sub coming on for Chicago. Michael Flores enters the match for Alan Rodriguez.
Entering the match, number 51, Michael Flores.
Heard the team on the sideline kind of asking Alan Rodriguez to get off the pitch with a little bit more pace. That's because if he would have stayed on a little bit longer, it would have been an issue. I'll explain in a moment. New England is on the ball. Bulma. To Peyton Miller. Zansky. Now Kaye. And Miller now free. Already has an assist on the day, but this one is way out wide. The reason it was so important for Alan Rodriguez to get off the pitch with pace is because if it was deemed that he was taking time, then Chicago would have had to play for a man down for a portion of this match. One of the most important rules in Next Pro, along with the rule that no matches come down to ties. That's just to ensure that there's no time wasting in any way, shape, or form here on the pitch. And so important to keep the flow of the match going, but also to ensure that late in matches, it's not a tactic used to take time off the clock. Herpa. Leonard with Adebayo-Smith looming. Now all the way out to Rochester. First touch almost puts him in a bit of trouble. Now Chicago trying to counter. Herpa. Glasgow. Two-play pass. How the hell? Can't slip through three defenders. Adebayo-Smith keeps the ball in. 1v3. Jordan Adebayo-Smith. '71st minute. Tied one apiece. Both goals coming here in the second half. One from Noah Hernandez for Chicago. The other from Jack Panayotou. Panayotou scored first for New England. Moments later, off a pass in the box from Luca Perpa. Noah Hernandez, who came on as a substitute impacted this match. Now this is Baraktarevic right at Jeffrey Gall, who has been busy here today. It's now the 7th save that he's had to make. Both sides double digits in regards to shot attempts. For New England, 15, and for Chicago, 14. Glasgow. New England forces the turnover. Baraktarevic cannot slither past his defender. Ostrom. Rochester. Out ahead. Jake Rosansky, who has come on as a substitute, now will make his way into the book. Yellow card picked up here in the 73rd minute.
A yellow card caution has been issued to New England Revolution to number 32, Jake Rosansky.
On the restart, the whistle had not blown, so it has to be retaken. Play resumes. It's coming down to the wire here for Chicago and New England. Charlie Ostrom into the box, puts it in, and what would have been a spectacular goal from Mateo Kidd turns into a save and a counter-attacking opportunity for New England. Baraktarevic. Reinforcements coming in to defend. Asmir Baraktarevic slips forward on the touchline, almost a handball. But that is not the decision. All right, Glasgow, like a Ferrari, speeds across midfield. Luka Perpa. The foul by Peyton Miller. Why Glasgow goes down. The free kick taken very quickly. And Chicago with a numbers advantage. Huge save. The second shot is sent wide. So off the quick restart. Coming forward was Hernandez, looking for the brace, eyeing that near post. And second attempt from Michael Flores was well watched.
For New England Revolution 2. Entering the match, number 39, Marcos Diaz. Leaving the match, number 16, Joshua Bolma. Also entering the match, number 89, Malcolm Fry. Leaving the match, number 10, Asmir Baraktarevic.
The subs coming on, Malcolm Fry and Marcos Diaz. Leaving, Asmir Baraktarevic and Joshua Bolma. Marcos Diaz, another young player for New England. Guy that can really tip the scale. Yes, second on the team in goals with 6. This has been a high high-powered attack from both sides, despite just the 1 goal apiece. We still have 14 minutes and change to see some more goals. This is Fry, his first touch since entering the match. Rosansky around to Kaye. Now Rivera squares up, has a go, and elevates this ball out. Fry will replace Baraktarevic on this right attacking side as Victor Sousa locates Fry. Plays it all the way across the box, nobody home. Now coming forward, here's Mateo Kidd for Chicago. Pendulum swings to Charlie Ostra. Sergio Odahel Jr. Off the turnover, Jake Rosansky turns. This is Damian Rivera by his defender. The ball free, and Adebayo Smith tapped it, but not enough power behind it for the go-ahead goal. New England, more than 63% of the possession in the first half. A similar trend here in the second half. Chicago, despite not having a lot of the possession, has not stopped them from taking excellent shots. Malcolm Fry looking for Marcos Diaz. That ball is over his head and out for a goal kick. Diaz and Adebayo Smith both at the top for New England. Both have excellent pace on any change of possession. Just saw Sergio Odahel go down. Now he will trot off, as he will be replaced by Michael Neski.
Substitution for Chicago Fire 2. Entering the match, number 58, Michael Nessi. Leaving the match, number 35, Sergio Odahel Jr.
Rosansky. Sousa. Vera and Fry link to find Peyton Miller, but his touch turns it over. England will keep possession as they've had for most of this second half. Into a recycle for the away side. Rochester breaks the first line. And now Flores tracks it down on the touchline. Press working for New England. They retake possession here as we move into the 82nd minute. Tie score. New England scored first. Jack Panayotu off the pass from Peyton Miller. But then, not too far after, the 63rd minute, Noah Hernandez finished a perfect pass from Luca Perpa. That tied this match. Off this foul, Chicago will have a restart. And Mohamed Hassan will have a quick conversation and show a yellow card.
A yellow card caution has been issued to New England Revolution 2, number 44, Pierre Caillé.
Pierre Caillé receives the yellow card for just tapping the ball away after the whistle was blown. Precious moments now here in this match. Both sides looking to get 3 points. Coming forward is Nessie. Sends it central. And Hernandez shot spills back onto him, and it's a handball. Diaz. As this ball shakes free, it's with Rivera. Has already shown his ability to get past defenders. Places it right for Malcolm Fry, but the ball ends up back with Caillé. Now Sousa. Miller. Rivera. What's so interesting about this phase of the match is this is how New England scored their goal, by just lulling Chicago to sleep. But Chicago has such an ability to counter. Right now, Malcolm Fry puts it on frame. Now this is Jake Rosansky turning. What a back heel from Rivera, who is so crafty in regards to his ability to assist. Rosansky could not trouble Gall. Now a man down for Chicago. That's Luca Perpa, potentially cramping here in the latter stages of this match. He is up and will continue. Bio Smith was offside as Malcolm Fry just blasted through 2 defenders to head that towards him. Second ball won by Chicago. And now Nessie does not win the race to the ball. And he brings down Pierre Caillé, who restarts things quickly. Peyton Miller out to Damian Rivera. with the contact. England will be counting its blessings there because Michael Nessie was free. There was no foul called. And Miller is down on the pitch. Omari Glasgow commits the foul and receives the yellow card. Free kick upcoming for New England here as we near the 88th minute of play. Hayden Miller, the youngest homegrown signing in team history, even younger than Diego Fagundes. Ball sent in, dropping for Rivera, trying to center himself. Miller was pushed down, and now who will win the race to the ball? It's Michael Nessie. Malcolm Fry defending in behind, and the aggressive defense and the not giving up attitude necessary stops the open chance for Chicago. So right now, near what might potentially be a kicks from the mark scenario. Romain Blake coming on. But right now, this is Luca Perpa preparing to take this corner kick. Outswinging ball. And Eric Leonard was coming around to take the shot. Now, the ball rolls out. The assistant coach for Chicago receives the yellow card. Have a stoppage now. Chicago wants to potentially bring on a substitute. We'll see if it happens before the final whistle. Throw in coming for Fire 2 as we're here in the 90th minute. Miller has this one forward. Ball put back into play. The announcement, a minimum of 4 minutes of added time here in the second half. Match tied at 1 apiece. New England struck first. Chicago had an answer.
The referee has syndicated there
Rivera.
will be a minimum of 4 minutes.
To rip inside the box. This is Diaz.
4 minutes.
Michael Nessie by one defender. Pierre Caillet will beat him to the ball. Off the foul. Quickly, the ball restarted. Diaz. Miller. Zansky finds Miller. He taps it into the box. Jeffrey Gall handles it. 1 minute gone of our minimum of 4. Chicago has such a quick striking mentality, but Noah Hernandez lets that ball roll out.
Substitution for New England Revolution 2. Entering the match, number 48, Jacob Akanirich. Leaving the match, number 43,
Malcolm Fry.
Santiago Suarez.
Fry into the box, cuts it back, and Marcos Diaz blasts it too high. Substitute coming on, Jacob Akanirich enters this match. Santiago Suarez is the man that departs. Akanirich, the big man, finds himself on the ball and locates Malcolm Fry. Now Panayotu tries to thread the needle. Jordan Adebayo-Smith, who's had a tough day at the office, is almost there. Diaz finds Fry. By one defender. Diaz again. Rivera. Diaz once again dials up too much power. New England has had no shortage of chances here in stoppage time. Man down for Chicago. The first match between these two sides went to kicks from the mark. New England earned the extra point, 4-3. Tell you who the man that is down in just a moment, as he now makes his way back up. That is Luca Perpa. And preparing to be subbed out is Perpa. Scored in the last match against Orlando. And had the assist here today on the lone goal for Chicago.
Substitution for Chicago Fire 2. Entering the match, number 59, Romaine Blake. Leaving the match, number 49,
Blake is the man that will
Luca Perpa.
Come in for Perpa. Because of the injury, should have 1 to 2 more minutes of added time on top of the minimum of 4. There's still plenty of time for some late drama. Sousa. Kidd. Can Glasgow grab this? Yes. On the touchline. This is Omari Glasgow. Lifts it into the box. The first time hit is wide. Michael Nessie tried to bring the house down here at home. He's Enough time for one more New England chance. Both sides have had glorious opportunities here in stoppage time, and there is not. Both times these two teams have met, they have ended in draws. The first time it was a 2-2 draw. Now we have a 1-1 draw that will go to kicks from the mark. Let's see the two goals that were scored here on the day. In the first half, no goals for either side, but in the second half, some beautiful play. Payne Miller puts it right in front of Jack Panayotu, and he puts it in the back of the net for the first goal of the day. But here, again, just Noah Hernandez played it to Luka Perpa, and Perpa put it back into his path for Hernandez to hammer it home for the goal. And as mentioned, games do not end in draws here in MLS Next Pro. Here's why it's a bit different.
There are no ties in MLS Next Pro. If a match ends in a tie at the end of regulation, the game will proceed directly to a shootout with kicks from the penalty mark.
That brings us to the point system. Similar to other soccer leagues, a team will earn 3 points with a win at the end of regulation, 1 point for a tie, and 0 points for a loss in regulation. A club will earn 2 points if the game ends in a tie and they go on to win the shootout that Samara just explained following the end of regulation.
So both sides will take a point away from this match, and if you are New England and Chicago, despite neither side picking up all 3 points, have to like what you saw for both of your teams here in this match. For New England, getting up on this side of Chicago, holding possession for most of the match, scoring your goal in a clinical way, and for Chicago, not giving up, knowing you need points if you want to make it into the playoffs. And that's why this extra point here is going to be so important, potentially more for Chicago than New England, who is firmly entrenched near the top of the standings. But for a team like Chicago that is 3 points out of that final playoff spot, 2 points in this match here at home would be pretty big. Plenty of drama still to commence here as nightfall here at SeatGeek Stadium. Beautiful venue. The goalkeepers now take center stage for both sides. Jeffrey Gall and Jacob Jackson both were very busy today. 22 shots taken by New England, 19 shots taken by Chicago. 10 on target for New England and 9 on target for Chicago. Now, shots from the mark. The goal scorer, Noah Hernandez, to start for Chicago. Hernandez, the slow run up, sends it into the back of the net. And Chicago up early here in our kicks from the mark. Mentioned that Chicago fell 4-3 when they took on New England earlier this season.
Taking a kick for New England Revolution 2, number 39, Marcos Diaz.
Chicago has only had 2 other kicks from the mark duels. Check that. 5 other kicks from the mark duels. They've won just 1 of those 5. Now New England looking to tie things here on the road. Diaz blocked by Jeffrey Gall. Chicago won their last kicks from the mark. It was against New York, 2-2. There were 2 stops made by the goalkeeper in that
Taking a hit for
match.
Chicago Fire 2, number 53, Jake Feuderer.
Jake Feuderer now comes up for Chicago to push their lead out a little farther. And Feuderer, despite not fooling Jacob Jackson, enough finesse to find the back of the net. And Jackson guessed the right way, but still enough pace on the ball to score. Now Jake Rosansky with a big task here early on. Does not want to fall too far behind as his team looks for the extra point here on the road. Rosansky came on as a substitute. Glass it past the goalkeeper. And New England is on the board.
Taking a kick for Chicago Fire 2. Number 48, Charlie Ostrom.
Now Ostrom, who leads this team in goals. No shortage of confidence for him. 5 goals on the season for Ostrom. And just slots that one low and off to the right for the third in this kicks from the mark for Chicago. Just tapped it at the last moment.
Taking a kick for New England Revolution 2, number 48, Jacob Akinurich.
Now, a late substitute. Jacob Akinurich trying to keep New England close. And so calm. A quick movement and then handles business from the spot. New England coming into today has not lost in a kicks from the mark. They are a perfect 4 of 4 on the season. Mateo Kidd could make this really difficult for New England if he could finish off one here. Kidd sends it into the back of the net, and Chicago can taste it now. Now walks up Damian Rivera.
Number 72.
Has been so elusive in the run of play. Rivera, a consistent scorer for New England with 5 goals on the year. Needs to score here. Rivera lets it rip, and it's true. So New England still has life here on the road.
Taking a kick for Chicago Fire 2, number 54, Lamont Rochester.
Now Lamont Rochester, a defender, steps up with the goal to finish things off. Rochester hammers it home, and Chicago takes the extra point here at home on top of New England.
The final score at the end of the match, New England Revolution.
Chicago wins in the kicks from the mark 5-3 off this beauty from Lamont Rochester, and he is our Adidas Man of the Match. after a hard-fought match between Chicago and New England. Lamont Rochester puts the nail in the coffin here in the kicks from the mark to give Chicago the all-important extra point and to have them 1 point away from being in playoff contention. So Chicago, after going down in this match, tied it in the 63rd minute, and Lamont Rochester finished things off for the home side. New England will take 1 point in the draw. For our entire MLS broadcast crew, I'm James Hadnot. Once again, the final 1-1 with Chicago taking the extra 5-3 in kicks from the mark. Don't forget you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLS Season Pass on Apple TV and MLSNextPro.com. Have a blessed evening.
This copyrighted broadcast of MLS Next Pro may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcasted without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.